Today we're reading Paracutin, the Mountain of Fire, and it's about a volcano in Mexico, I think, that exploded long ago. And it's written by Margareta Robleta and illustrated by Steve Cieslawski. And there's a bit of Spanish in here, so let's see how I do with it. At last, the great day arrived. After so many rehearsals in the schoolyard, the students would march today, February 20th. The parade would honor one of the patron saints of the town church. Pablo was happy. He had almost been up in time to wake Rupert the rooster, so that Rupert could crow his wake-up song. Pablo's father, Don Dionisio Pulido, was smiling and chewing slowly and happily. Mama had thrown the corn tortillas on the comal so the whole family could eat them with some beans and their coffee with raw sugar. That sounds like a great breakfast. His mother's hands sounded like applause as she slapped out the tortillas. The neighboring houses echoed the sound as if to announce, "Here, too, we eat hot, moist tortilla." People liked to decorate their town with green and white tissue paper. They made bows and flags, wreaths and flowers, and strung them along the streets and from balconies and trees. It's going to be quite a party. The day would begin with the parade, and the traditional fiesta would continue into the night, with a band to start the dancing. Stands would spring up around the plaza. Vendors would sell sweet and spicy tamales, sugar and cinnamon churros, strawberry and vanilla atoles, tacos with chicharrón or napalitos, quesadillas, and raffle tickets. At school, the children had prepared different dances. It would be Pablo's turn to dance Los Viejitos, the old men, a folk dance from Michoacán. Oh gosh, my Spanish is so bad. Please forgive me, bilingual speakers. He was glad that he would wear a mask and carry a staff, that no one would recognize him hopping underneath. He helped his mother roll up the straw sleeping mats. He helped his father put the ox out to pasture and asked Rupert the rooster to cross his wing feathers for good luck. I'm going to change where I have the book so you don't get so much of the shadows. There we go. Brr! The water was cold, but Pablo scrubbed his cinnamon-colored cheeks until they shone. He would be handsome in that new cotton suit that Mama had sewn for him. The men in charge of the fireworks set them off in bunches, straight and tall. Pablo danced the measured steps he had practiced so often. Some of the old workers had fought with Zapata brought up in the rear of the parade. Oh, let me try that again. Some of the old soldiers who had fought with Zapata brought up the rear of the parade. That means they were at the very end of the parade, like the last float or whatever. They rode horses and wore cartridge belts and medals won in battle. Everyone was shouting, "Hooray!" and yelling, "Bravo!" In these moments, they were all together. Don Dionisio decided not to rest even though it was a holiday. He wanted to take a ride around his land. He and Pablo changed from their new clothes to work clothes and headed for the fields. Pablo was still excited about the parade. He marched in even steps, 1, 2, 1, 2. He whistled a marching tune. When he and his father arrived, birds were making a tasty lunch of the stubbly leftovers from late harvest. "Scat, scat," yelled Don Dionisimo. "Scat, scat," echoed Pablo. He tried to imitate the serious tone of his father's voice. The birds were having a great time and didn't pay much attention. Pablo took out his red handkerchief, twirling it around like a tornado. He ran through the furrows. That's the parts of the row that kind of go down into the ground. At that moment, the thunderous noises began. "Sounds like it's going to rain," said Don Dionisio. "Sounds like they're still setting off fireworks in town," answered Pablo. Boom! Boom! The birds flew off in a flutter. A column of smoke sprouted from the earth and made Pablo and his father cough. The ground started to shake from side to side. Brrr. The smoke kept coming, as if they were on the back of a giant tortoise that had sprung up from the land. Don Dionisio and Pablo were lifted into the air. "Run!" shouted Father. "Run!" echoed the son. The movement threw them both to the ground. Meanwhile, that tortoise thing, got bigger and bigger. You see it behind him there? The tortoise thing? A little baby volcano. Pablo and his father rolled downhill. When at last they could get to their feet, they ran and ran and did not stop running until they got to the church. Don Dionisio darted up the tower to ring the bell, and the whole town came together. "On my land!" Don Dionisio searched in vain for the words. "A monster!" cried Pablo. "A monster came from the ground." Then in the plaza they all heard the sounds. Boom! Boom! A great cry went up. Some people knelt down on the ground. Others, still frozen like marble statues. Still others broke down and sobbed. They're so scared. Where? How? What? When? At what time? Confused questions filled the air. The bravest of the townspeople ran to their houses for their machetes, their brooms, or poles. The old soldiers still proudly wore their medals from the morning parade. Happy to be active again, they went for their rifles. If there was an enemy, they would all have to fight him. So they thought maybe somebody was shooting at them or blowing stuff up. I don't know. Doesn't sound like they knew it was a volcano yet. Never had the townspeople been so united. They headed out, armed with sticks, rocks, and anything else they could grab. As they got closer to the field, the noises got louder. The smoke made them cough. A white dust powdered their hair, their mustaches, their eyebrows. Don Dionisio and Pablo couldn't believe their eyes. They rubbed them again and again to be sure of what they saw. A hill had grown in the middle of their land. Its huge mouth spat smoke, ash, and rocks. The roar grew louder, and a shower of rocks sent them all running back to town. The party planned for that evening had to be canceled. No one was in the mood for dancing, but everyone spent the night in the church, huddled together and wrapped in blankets. They shared the churros, the tamales, and the atoles that had already been prepared. Never before had they been so united. Before dawn, Pablo remembered Rupert the rooster. Without telling anyone, he set out to find his friend. Rupert was fine when he found him, a bit dusty from the falling ashes, but ready to wake the town. Pablo's house wasn't so lucky. Falling stones had crushed the roof and toppled a wall. The sound kept on, and Pablo turned around. He saw the silhouette, the outline of the volcano among the lights and shadows of dawn. It was taller now than the last time he'd seen it. Tongues of fire flickered in the early morning darkness. For a long time, Pablo was frozen in place by the beauty of the spectacle and the fear of being hit by a rock. It was Don Dionisio who broke the spell with a hug. "Why, Papa? Why did this happen?" Because Earth's heart is filled with fire, and sometimes he needs to be let out a little. Otherwise he would explode into a million pieces. But why on our land? We had already plowed. Because Earth had the chance to choose a place to come out, and he chose the most beautiful. He has good taste, don't you think? They held each other for a good long time. When they felt better, they headed back to town along with Rupert and the ox. Dad's a very understanding soul. I think I would have been more like Pablo, a little angry. Soon after, the rescue and emergency teams arrived. The townspeople were lucky. Although all the houses were destroyed, no one was seriously injured. Scientists from around the world came to study the volcano. It was something they would only see here in Michoacan, Mexico, or in the Canary Islands, a volcano born right before their eyes. The government moved everyone in the town to a safe zone nearby. The townspeople began a new life. After all, they were still together. Many years passed. Today, February 20th, Pablo is a father and watches Pablo, his son. Pablo, the son, goes out to wake Rupert, the grandson of the other Rupert, so that the rooster can get everyone up with his song. Today in the town parade, the children will show what they have rehearsed so many times in school. The noise of an early morning motorcycle reminds Pablo of the other sound he has never forgotten. Pablo remembers the scene with his father at dawn that day. Now he answers, "You are right, Papa. The earth has good taste. Of all the places in the world, he chose to sprout in our cornfield because it was the most beautiful." And then there's this picture here of their town. I am guessing that's a little lake and there's a river. And I can't really see where, maybe these triangles are where the volcanoes are. And there you have it. Have a wonderful day. I hope you enjoyed the story.